Hello and welcome to this edition of The Verified with me, Mustafa Kedawo. Today I have a guest who's been here for the third time, I think, or the fourth time?
The fourth time.
The fourth time.
Yeah.
Mr. Lamin Manneh, the UDP executive member who's also returning from a tour. I think you were in
I was in the tour all around the country, and then I went to Kiang for the
by-election.
The nomination of the candidate.
That would be in Kiang Kayaf.
Kiang Kayaf, that's right.
You're the administrative secretary for foreign affairs. Huh?
Deputy Secretary for Foreign Affairs and the Diaspora. The substantive is Mboj Sedikan. Yeah, and he lives in the US, so I get to stand in a lot for him.
Great. Yeah. Welcome to this edition of The Verified.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Beautiful. I mean, this is your first tour. You know, I joked with Sekou Kamara that, you know, UDP al kono fala sa mbari dimflanyari wala sotata UMC. And so this is the this is the first tour after the selection of Mr. Darboe as the flag bearer of the party, but also the first tour after UMC had left the members of the UMC United Movement for Change that left the UDP, and of course created an impression of huge political gains they've made since then. And of course, I think just like me, like all curious observers, people would want to know how was this tour, if any, different from the last tour, and have you noticed any changes in the usual fanfare, structures, and anything relating to the party?
This tour was a very good one. Yes, it was different from the other ones in the sense that we made a deliberate option not to take too many people with us on the tour. We want this to be region, constituency, and ward-based. So we took a very small team from here to go on the tour. So all the people you saw with us are people who came from the regions, the wards, the constituencies, the villages. That's where they were coming from. Because we thought there's no point carrying a big crowd of people, of converted, to go with them and then, you know, meet amongst ourselves and have this fanfare and come back. No, we want to go there and listen to the Gambians, hear what they had to say, and particularly listen to those who are not UDP members. Our base, we're going to consolidate at any rate. So our base is stable, doesn't go anywhere, but we want to attract more people from other parties. So we want to widen our base. So these tours are essentially for us what we've been advising Barrow actually. When you go to meet the people's tour, listen to them, listen to what they have to say, and you build on that. So we go there, we listen to the people on the ground, they tell us what their issues are, what are their worries, what are the things that they want to see happen in their communities. And we discuss with them, and then we tell them when we come to power, this is what we're proposing. This is how we think we can solve those problems. And this is how we're going to work with you to devise those solutions together with you. Not coming from UDP top down, but we're going to work with you and devise and design policies and programs and projects that we're going to implement, which will address the issues that you have, which will address the concerns that you have. And how do we now integrate the two into the overall country's development program? Because it has to be a holistic approach. So we listen to everybody. We know what your concerns are. We think we know fairly well what the concerns are. But sit with the people, listen to them, fine-tune them. And then when you come back, you redesign that. You fine-tune your policies and programs and projects, and then you're ready to go. So that by the time we hit the ground, we'll hit the ground running. So this is what we did, and it was very interesting in the sense that the people came out in droves. And we had exceptional reception in so many areas, and even areas where traditionally we didn't have support. They came out and told us, you know what?
Where specifically are those areas?
For example, when we left, when we go to Balangara, Balangara was a huge reception.
That's around Kaur.
Yeah, around Kaur, just before Kaur. Balangara was a traditional UDP hostile area. But when we got there, we even had the Friday prayers there at the mosque in Balangara, and the people came out in large numbers, and we had a very good meeting. The women, the youth, everybody was out there.
But why do you think there is a shift in that, in the support base of the UDP in that area?
One of the reasons was that They told us that they had been approaching the Barrow government for the past, for 7 years, trying to get water supply into the area because they have huge issues with water supply and health and education.
What sort of water supply? For drinking?
A borehole, yeah, for drinking water. And they couldn't get anything. So they approached Hussein Darboe. Hussein told them, well, I can't promise you, but I will do my best to facilitate it. And he did. He got them a big borehole there, which supplies the whole village. Okay, it's a town now. And they said, well, look, we thought the government would be in a better place to do it because that's why we pay our taxes. They didn't respond to us. We asked Hussein. In a very short time, he came and did it for us. And they said, now what our problem is, we have water, but we have to carry it all across the town. You have to go to the borehole, you fetch your water and take it to your place. And in this day and age, we shouldn't have to be doing that. We should be able to have pipes laid and the water available in different parts of the village from that borehole. We discussed those issues with them. We said, actually, better than that. We didn't even need to have boreholes for you to do that. We should be having pipe-borne water. 60 years after independence, we should be having pipe-borne water all across this country. What we need to do is, what Senegal is calling the water highways. Build 2 major pipelines across the country. Gambia is a small, thin country. You build one huge pipeline on the left south bank and the north bank, you supply the whole country. But not just for drinking, even for agricultural purposes. This is what we need, and which will be easy to do in this country if we have proper leadership. We discussed those issues with them, said, when we come to power, not only you'll have that borehole, but you can use that eventually for gardening. But we'll try to make sure that you have pipe-borne water right across the country. So you don't have to go to a borehole, you'll have water available in your house. That's what we should be aiming for and shooting for, and this is feasible. So we discussed those issues with them, and they told us how much they need changes in the area in terms of schools, in terms of health facilities. There's no medical facility worth, it's salt in Balangar. So they're having huge issues there, huge issues with education, huge issues with electricity supply. Essentially, it's the people in the city, in the diaspora, who provide solar power, etc. So it's a host of issues that they wanted to discuss. And we had some very vocal people there, particularly a young lady. I would, silence her name just because what they tell us is when these things happen, they go after them, they harass them and try to bring them to UDP, NPP and all that stuff. So some of them want us to call their names, but if anybody who is interested can watch our videos from there. There was this very vocal young lady, and she was so good. And we had very good discussions with them. And the reception was so good. You know what? We have been told stories about you, and we believed.
What sort of stories were those?
About UDP being a tribalist party, UDP being not responsive to other ethnic groups, and we'll send them out of the country when they say, "What we've heard you say Darboe, and we've seen what's happening, and now we know what the truth is." So we don't believe any of those things now. We've been manipulated. We agree. The new Nahon, where now we have seen the light, and we're going to change, and we're going to stay with you. We're going to vote for you. So it was a huge reception there. We had that very good reception. Another one, we had very good ones, but I think the 2 that stand out to me were Balangar and Mahmoud Fana. Mahmoud Fana, the same thing. We had a huge reception. It's essentially also a non-UDP area. They came out in droves.
Where's Mahmoud Fana? Is it Nyomi?
No, Nyamina, near Kudam, and very good reception. And there too, people came out and they were so vocal, so straightforward with what they want to see achieved in the area. People tell us, when our wives are having babies, we have to put them on motorcycles or horse or donkey carts, carry them so far, some of them they deliver on the way. We have all of those issues, we have school issues, we have water issues, it's just a litany of woes right across. And that this government has been here for years, they don't care about us, we've been voting for them, but they don't even think about us, they don't even come to our places. And UDP, you are not in government, you should be helping us do all of these things, particularly
did you do anything
supply.
In those?
Yes, water supply.
Water supply?
Yeah.
But Barrow could look at that and say, well, UDP is now doing what they're accusing me of doing. They're also buying votes through.
No. We're not buying votes. Because if you are a political party, you've got to take care of the needs of the people. And the needs of the people are what? look, we want health facilities. We want water. Water is a human right. You can manage without electricity. You can manage without roads, etc. But you can't manage without water. So when people come to you and tell, look, we don't even have water to drink. Another place where we had an issue was in Yomi, in Jinaki. Jinaki, they don't have drinking water. The whole area is salinated. So it's all salt water. So the water has to be piped in from Bakindik right across the lake, etc., the island, all the way to Jinaki. So you have those issues with people who cannot drink water, get water. They came to Mr. Darboe to complain some years back, and they have to take donkey carts or horse carts and go tens of kilometers to get water and bring it to have drinking water. So these are issues which, if you are really caring about what the populations are living, you want to change their lives, you don't even wait to get to government. If you can help in any way, you help. And we dig into our pockets and we reach out to our friends in the diaspora and other places.
And no strings attached.
Absolutely none, because we cannot. We cannot. We sympathize with these people. We are caring and compassionate. When you go to a place where they show you that these kids aren't going to school normally because they have to get about 5, 6 in the morning to go fetch water kilometers away and bring it and go 2, 3 times. They go to school late, or they have to finish early from school, go do those things. Those who don't have donkey carts, they have to carry it on their heads. So you find 6, 7, 8-year-old girls carrying buckets of water 3, 4 times to their home to be able to have water to drink and cook. How do you affect those people? So, if you can help those people in any way, you help.
But Jinaka, I would imagine, is not a traditionally hostile UDP zone.
No, it's not hostile. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, the NPP also has some supporters there.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying there is, we do not attach things because we don't even want to, we cannot. What we're saying is, these are people who have been paying their taxes and everything to the government and who have been neglected. Jinaki has nothing. No roads, no infrastructure, no power, no water, and they are paying their taxes to the government here. And they can't even have drinking water. I mean, that's unacceptable.
So, I mean, in terms of the 2 main highlights you have is Balangar and Mahmoud Fall.
Yeah, the major ones, but there are
the major
right across.
And there are 2, I have had, for the longest time, problem with the political parties' mode of tours. And you've said something that's very interesting to me, because it's an opinion that I've had for a very long time. And that's the issue of region-based tour.
Yeah.
That gives you a realistic assessment of your support.
Yes.
But also, for example, it also gives you an opportunity to spend far less money.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, tell us a little bit about how this sort of changes, both in your realistic assessment of have a feel of the actual support base, and also how much money have you had to spend on this?
And the whole
compared to the history, the past.
Yeah. The whole of the tour, which took about 11 days, we didn't spend $500,000. We didn't. We went around, and what we do when we get into an area, we send an advance team. They go scout for where to stay. They go prepare for the food for those who are with us, and also the people on the ground. When we go to the meetings, they have to eat because they spend very long hours there. Yeah. We prepare that sort of thing. So we give them some money to help with that. But the local communities have been doing part of the work and part of the funding. So this is what we do. We spend very little amount of money doing this. So the people who are traveling also, most of us went in our own cars and we paid our own fuel. So no fueling from the party. Those who went in party hired vehicles, because we hired some vehicles, like to take the journalists, the security group that was with us, and a few members of the party who needed to be there who don't have vehicles. So I think in all we hired about half a dozen vehicles. So you have to fuel those, okay? Like another one we got for the Council of Elders, Alpha Kafu. So we fuel those vehicles. Other than that, most of us fund our own trips. We pay for our vehicles, we take our vehicles, we pay for our fuel, and when there is nowhere to stay, we go to look for guest houses and the rest, and we pay to stay. So this is what you need. Because the objective here is not to go and gain money or, ruin the party's finances. We want to spend as little as possible and have an impact which is much bigger.
Yeah. You were part of the UDP in 2021 elections.
Yes.
I mean, in terms of the politics, the support mobilization and all that stuff. And you must have seen and feel the atmosphere at the time. And right now, you've just selected Darboe also. I mean, this is supposed to be the first test of what is likely to happen in 2026. How do you see the atmosphere?
The atmosphere has been extremely encouraging. When we went to the different communities, what they tell us is that we have issues. We have been suffering in this part of the country. These are our problems that we've been facing. We've been discussing with government. We've been sending in them our demands, but nothing has happened. But we know that with UDP, we will be addressing these issues. And why do we think that? Because you have been caring. You have been coming to see us. You have been listening to us, not talking down to us. You have been taking notes of what we are telling you and telling us that once you come to power, you will have integrated our issues into your programs and projects, and we would work together to develop these things. And then they will tell you, this is how we want it done. This is what we want to see here. This is what we see there. And you discuss with them and look at the feasibility of everything. And you discuss that with them. And the important thing is, Mr. Darboe spoke very little. And when he spoke, he only spoke at the end. We listen to the communities that we visit. So when we get there, if we speak for, let's say, 2 hours, about 1.5 hours will be them speaking, telling us about their problems, what they expect to see, where they want to see this country go. And then a few members of the delegation that travel with Mr. Darboe will also discuss issues about policy issues, about developmental issues that we have, and how we see things going. And then,
So comparatively, how do you see the excitement? Comparatively, I mean, I'm talking about around 2021, and now we are heading into 2026.
The excitement was huge in the sense that they feel that now they are owning this campaign. They are not getting a huge group of people coming from the greater Banjul area, coming to them, and then they're singing and dancing and clapping, etc., and we're doing most of the talking. This way, the dynamics have changed. They are the ones doing the talking. They are the ones doing the proposals. They are the ones telling us where they want to see us go. And then we are listening more than talking, taking notes. And then when we finish, we go have all these postmortems of the day. What have we heard? What can we do? What is feasible in the short term, in the medium term? What are the low-hanging fruits when we get to the country's leadership? So these are the sort of things we do. And the enthusiasm that has been there, it's people being, you see them happy to see Mr. Darboe. We knew that you were going to come. If UDP had chosen somebody else, we probably would have been looking somewhere else. We want you to be the leader because we trust you, because you've been here all these years. You've been consistent. You've been there. You've not changed. You suffered with us. You sacrificed everything for us. So we trust you. We believe you, and we know that you will not betray us when you get to government. And that was very encouraging.
So you do not think there is any sort of, you don't see, as far as you're concerned, you don't think that there has been any Mantala Lafata?
Oh, Lafata Bakele, because that's, I give you those few cases. But I can tell you what happened, for example, in Bara, the first stop. It took us about an hour to go from Bara to Esau because we couldn't move. The people were everywhere. The cars were going at a snail's pace. And the meeting was very good. And the reception from Bara everywhere, places we didn't even plan to have meetings. They would stop us on the road. They want to see Mr. Darboe. They want him to say a few words. And he had to stop, come out of the car, improvise some short meeting. Say a few words to them and tell them, this is a short tour. We cannot stay long because we are expected at other places. And because of that, we got to our destination sometimes.
Bara, that is supposed to be a very, Bara and places around Kaul are supposed to be very prominent for UMC, no? Because that's where I think Karafa comes from, Nyomi and Talib comes from Kaur, I think.
No. His mother comes from the Rending area.
His mom comes
Bakindik,
from Bakindik, yes.
Yeah, but I am from Nyomi.
But you're from Jinak?
Jinak, yeah. Lamin Manneh's mom is from Nyomi. And, we have quite a number of people from themselves,
UDP also, it's a sort of
but
counterbalanced.
No, it's not counterbalanced. We are really the party in there.
Okay.
Kanafa and Korean have a base there. They don't. So, but I don't want to discuss those, that party and that. Let's the party yet. Let's discuss what when we got there, the support base was such that people are telling us, our problems last year was that, the last election, where we had a lot of cross-border votes. People are being ferried across the border from Senegal to come and vote. But we're going to make sure that is minimized to to reduce to the minimum, because we're going to defend our vote. And what's more, our people who were living in the Greater Banjul area didn't come back to vote. So now everybody's going to come back to vote. And we're going to come out in droves to vote for you. We have seen what's happening. We have seen the difficulties we are going through. So somebody told us, I was in the cement business. And we invested a lot in cement sales from Senegal, buying cement, and we have been ruined. We have been ruined by the policies of this government. Others are telling us, we have groundnuts here we cannot even sell up to now. Some of them have not been paid for their groundnut sales of last year. They are still waiting to be paid. So naturally, people are angry. Say, we did this since last year. We're still waiting for our money. This year, our groundnuts are ready for sale, and nobody is here. The Secos don't have enough money. They don't have. So people are angry. And furthermore, they tell us we can't even go across the border to sell it. They can buy it from us, and we can go across the border to sell it.
Just to sell the groundnuts.
And what's more, and to add insult to injury, it's been the same price for 3 years running. No change in the price of groundnuts that is paid to us. Yet every other government employee in this country has had huge increases in salary. And they have all sorts of benefits. And we don't have any of those. And I told one of these stops, I said, you know what? The ton of groundnuts, what they pay you for a ton of groundnuts, is less than what Barrow's ministers get for per diem per day when they leave this country. That tells you how seriously they think about these people. They don't care about the farmers. They don't care about anybody in this country. When the minister travels, his daily per diem is worth more than the price of a ton of groundnuts. So the guy who works, he's head off for 4 or 5 months, 6 months in the year. He has what, maybe 1-2 tons of groundnuts at most. The poor holders, small holders, they have 1 ton, maximum 2 tons of groundnuts. So what they get for a whole season of work is less than 2 days of per diem for a minister of Barrow traveling out of this country. So tell me the priorities are right. Everything is skewed. They don't care about those people. So it's the money from those groundnut sales that are being used to finance all that traveling and all that, extraordinarily expensive life that they are living in this country at the expense of the poor farmers. So these are the issues. The farmers are very aware of these issues, and they put them on the table. They tell you, and our kids can go to school, because the schools we have, when they come out, come out unemployed. So some of them are telling, why do we waste our time sending the kids to school? Some say, well, we don't have the choice. We have to get them at least something, Others are telling us, if we have centers of excellence, it would have been better. Training centers, So they are aware of the problems, and they are really coming with proposals for solutions.
I imagine, at the time, the tour came immediately after the president's tour. And of course, once the president, UDP is talking, the president is also responding. Some of the things I don't want to go to them because some of the conversations are pretty direct and about trading personality issues. But I want to speak to the issue of the policy conversations you've had with the people regarding backway, as we call it.
Yes.
Or irregular route. Because the rural areas is such that a lot of people are living. And I think I of the speeches, I listened to one of Hussaini's speeches in Kiel, I think, where he's talking about young people, even anyone who wants to help their relatives, anyone who wants to help his mother, or build a house for his mom, or buy a car or something. Everyone has to think of backway because the rural economy is not strong enough to support those kind of dreams.
It's really inexistent.
To support those dreams.
Yeah.
So what do you wish to change in the first place? But in the short term, like, right now, backway has come back big time. A lot of young people are dying in the high seas. In the short term, what do you do? Like,
yeah, you see, for example, I told you about Balangar and Mahmoud Fana. I can tell you about Nyakoi. I can tell you about Kunting. It's the same sort of issues we had there, and the same sort of enthusiasm for Darboe. In Kunting, for example, the youth came with a whole regime of bananas, improved variety. They brought it for Darboe and gave it to him as a gift. Say, our communities are dying. We can't get anything done here. But this is an example of what we, the youth, are capable of doing with support from government. So we want support from you. In Nyakoi, the carpenters, Association of Young Carpenters in the area, built a beautiful, armchair, settee, and brought it to Mr. Darboe and said, this is our gift to you as a token of appreciation, and saying to you, these are the sort of things we can do if we get support. And we can improve on this and make it even better. But the effort that went into that from the association to prepare something like that, you see this will have potential. If they have the right support, the right equipment, and the right marketing channels, they can do so much better. So these are the areas where we as a party would focus. Because our development agenda is human and people-based. Because development boils down to what? It boils down to that, to the people. The people are what we're fighting for. What can you do for these people to get their lives better, get their lives much more easy from in where they are? Now, if you take the rural areas, the people who live there, who are complaining to you about everything, and who are having a huge migration, exodus of people from the rural areas to the greater Banjul area, if you go to them and provide assistance in terms of loans, interest-free or low-interest loans to those communities and the youth, organize them into communities, into cooperatives, into associations, whatever you like. And you sit with them and discuss with them and get that agreed upon. And you provide them the funding. They can go into vegetable farming. They can go into fruit farming. They can go into animal husbandry, be it poultry, small ruminants, big ruminants. They can do anything. They can go into food production. They can go into agriculture. They can go to so many different things. There's a huge need for fish in some of those areas. They can go for aquaculture. There are so many things that they can do. And also other people will bring them into trades. The carpenters, the ones who offered him the chair in Nyakoi, provide them the facilities to have their carpentry workshops.
They offered who a chair in Nyakoi?
Mr. Darboe.
Okay.
They offered him an armchair, a settee, as you call it, a couch, a huge one, beautifully done, and then decorated in yellow and all. You see the skills, but you can evidently say that they lack the equipment. With the proper equipment, they can get something even much better, much more refined and sellable and everything. They have the potential. Provide them with the assistance they need to get the right equipment, to get the right workshops, and to get the proper training. And then you get them mentors who are going to help them with the trade. One. Two, with the marketing. So you don't just give them money and then say, okay, swim or sink. You get them the funding, you get them the mentorship, people to train, help them train in those areas, people to show them how to go about things, people to help them with the marketing and management skills required to run those institutions of their own, help them grow that. These people are going to be self-dependent, self-reliant, and self-employing, and they will employ other people. And by the same token, they will make the population stay in the areas where they are, instead of having to leave, come to Greater Banjul area or end up in the backroad migration, backroad migration routes. I mean, we don't want that. We're losing the cream for society. The youths are dying in the hundreds and thousands now, every year. We're losing them to the desert, to the Atlantic, and to the Mediterranean. Why? Because there is no more hope for them in this country. The hopelessness has grown to a point where people say, what's the point? Whether I die in the sea or die here, I'm going to die. So I might as well take the risk. If I go to the other side, if I succeed getting there, I might do something. And yet, we know that's not the solution. Because most of them will perish on the way. If they don't perish on the way, when they get there, they become clandestines. They are running, from the authorities. They have no papers. They have no jobs. They are living in refugee centers, etc. That's not life. What we want for them in this country is to give them that hope that they can succeed in their own country. Give them the wherewithal to succeed here. Give them the skills training for those who need skills training. Provide academic education, academic training for those who need the training. For example, Barrow's next year tour, he asked for 52 million. They gave him that.
That's a nationwide tour.
Nationwide tour. 52 million. I told you our tour was less than $500,000 by far. If he was to take even 5 million, which is a lot already.
But your tour, you don't pay allowances.
No, we don't need to pay allowances.
The president's tour, he pays allowances.
But why does he need to? He doesn't need to.
The government does pay allowances to individuals who are on the tour.
No.
They are paid, I think, how do they call it? They spent away, DSA.
DSA, yeah.
Yes.
It's the per diem.
Yes.
But if you take the whole government, of course you pay much more per diem.
Yes.
But who do you need for that? The president needs maybe 2, 3 maximum ministers for this tour. When he goes there, he's talking to who? He's talking to the farmers, right? He's talking to the schools. He's talking to the health facilities. These are the key concerns of the population. Maybe take those 3 ministers with you. But you don't even need to take the ministers. You can take a permanent secretary. Because you have health directors in every region. You have education directors. You have agricultural directors. You have everything. And these are the people who have the technical knowledge, who are going to advise the minister and the government. Work with those people. You go to the regions. Actually, our tour is region-based, constituency, and ward-based. If you go to NBR, we stay with the people in NBR, the director of education, director of health, director of education. Bring them around. Bring the people from the localities around. And they will be the talking. They'll do the talking. And these directors will be taking notes. In the evening, we sit with them. Barrow should be sitting with them and now comparing notes. What have they said? What can we do? How can we integrate the development policies of the country and the programs and projects? That's what they should be doing. You don't need the ministers for that. You don't need to take your company or you don't need all that. Half of the government goes when he goes with. Naturally, the budget is high. But why do you need all of people? They just go there to campaign, and merrymaking. So the drumming and dancing and all whatnot. You don't need that. So if Darboe starts the tours, or should I say, when Darboe starts the tours in 2027, you will see a small group of people go with him, just like we had this time around. So their job will be to listen and take notes and come and integrate those into the policy and program. The people driving that would be the local populations and the directors of agriculture, health, whatever, and all the top civil servants who are in those regions. These are the people who have been sent there to do that work. They would do the work year-round, collecting information, collecting the desires of the people, etc. And when the time comes, they will be the talking. They will do the talking and the dialogue. So if you do that, you cut down the cost. If you were to cut down on that cost, take 5 million out of 52, you'll have 47 million left for next year. 47 million, Mustafa, can pay for the education, the tuition of 1,000 students at UTG. 1,000 students. So imagine cutting your wastage on the needy people tour and pay for the tuition of 1,000 students at UTG. You are building a base for this country. You are building capacity. You are building a young generation who will no longer be sacrificed, will be the people to run this country tomorrow with competence. That's what we expect from a government. Not this kind of wastage.
Let's look at the issue of production. So, for example, of course, many people in the development field have always argued that poverty makes no sense in a country that is hugely unproductive. So for example, anything you produce in the Gambia is likely going to be sold because we either have to buy it from outside anyway. So rice, we have to buy it, right? If you produce rice in the Gambia, it will be sold. Vegetables, we still have to get it from Senegal. If you produce it in the Gambia, it will be sold. Even Omo, we have to bring it from outside. If you produce it in the Gambia, do it. So poverty makes no sense in a country where the economy is less productive. Now, because anything you produce will be sold. So, but the problem is, how do we make the country that productive? Like, for example, food. How do we produce that food that is consumed? Because in any case, we are buying it anyway. So rice, for example, we can begin with rice, but also vegetables. So, I mean, you know, those kind of, have you had the opportunity to discuss with the communities? Because, I mean, if you look at the Gambia, it's naturally zonalized in accordance with different preferred methods of agriculture. So, for example, if you go to my area, in Badibu, central towards the river, we cultivate rice and groundnuts and all these other things. But up around Darboe, far away from the river, they don't cultivate rice, they cultivate other things. Okay? And have you had the opportunity, and if you go to CRR and north and south, they cultivate a lot of rice and all that stuff. So do you have an opportunity to sit down with these farmers or sort of have a, you know, sort of a solution or an idea of what these farmers should need and sort of try to interact with them on what you can do for them to sort of make the country a lot more productive than it currently is?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even in informal discussion before the meetings we'll have with them, we discuss these issues. As you said, if you go to NBR, the kind of crops that are produced are slightly different from what you have in CRR and from URR and from West Coast region, etc. So that natural selection, more or less, if you can call it that, gives you the possibility to have a diversified agricultural base. In the NBR, the groundnut sector, we used to produce in this country about 140 to 150,000 tons of groundnut a year on the Jawab. Now, when we get 25, 30, the government, slaps themselves on the back. You've done well. No, you haven't done well. So, if we produce more groundnuts in those areas, one, we tell them the groundnuts we produce, we do not have to sell them raw, unprocessed. We will go and get into processing of those groundnuts. Okay. We will not have to import oil anymore, cooking oil. We will produce most of the cooking oil here. We used to do it in Saro and in other places. Saro is dead, Denton Bridge. We can do that again. We can bring that back. The infrastructure is still there, needs renovation, needs modernization, but we can do that. And there's,
but we are still spending a lot of money on Saro.
To get what? Nothing, So these are the low-hanging fruits we're talking about. You can very quickly revamp those structures and produce cooking oil in this country, very good quality cooking oil, and the groundnuts will be processed here for partly for that. So you get a much higher income because you add value, and you get people on the entire value chain. So people will be working not just in production of groundnuts, some will be working in the processing of groundnuts, the production of oil, the transportation of oil, cooking oil to the shops, and also, so how you can create a whole value chain just for groundnuts. And the prices are going to go up. Some are going to be prepared for the hotel industry, table groundnuts and the less. We had here in Cardiff what was called HPS, handpicked selection. The groundnuts were processed there, and the seeds, quality seeds were. You can bring all of that back very quickly and very easily, right? That is for groundnuts. NBR is also known for vegetable gardening. We import sometimes some of the vegetables all the way from Holland. When Senegal doesn't have enough onions, we buy them all the way from Holland. Now, if you tell the women in CRR, and not just women, but even the men folk as well can come in there. You tell them, we are going to provide you with water boreholes. We're going to help you fence your gardens. We're going to provide you with improved seeds and fertilizer. We're going to help you get organic fertilizer and discourage the use of chemical fertilizer as much as possible. We're going to do this for you. We're going to help you grow it because chemical fertilizers impoverish the soil. So we will help you get organic fertilizer produced locally, much cheaper and much more effective. We'll help you do that. And you have much more healthy foods and easier to sell because organic foods sell much better when you export. So we will have that, and we will have healthy vegetables here all year round. We will build for you storage facilities for those vegetables. If you cannot sell them the same day or the same, you can still store them and you have vegetables available throughout the year. We can do that. We will create small cottage industries to start for the processing of some of those things. We can produce so much from vegetables. We can produce tomato paste from the tomato we get. We can produce canned vegetables for the local market. We can use some of them to make drinks, carrot juice, tomato juice, and what have you. We can make them from those fruits. We can use the local trees that grow there, kaba, tallow, and that sort of thing.
But those things are disappearing now.
They're disappearing because
everyone is. In my native Salekenya, for example, I love wild fruits.
Exactly.
So if you go to like Nguguo, Nguso,
exactly,
Gorso,
Kaba,
exactly, those things have disappeared. Even my childhood days, we used to have them in the
in the Kobo here. Things like Kutufingo and so they've
disappeared.
All of the trees are being cut down for firewood, for charcoal.
Yeah.
And the government does nothing to reforest. The NBR region is almost savanna now.
Yeah. I think the entire NBR.
Yeah.
It's like a wild desert now.
Yeah, exactly. So that
and of course you have to blame the local communities also. Of course the government has to have
you blame them to a certain extent, but they don't have alternatives.
Yeah.
They have to cook. Why can't we get them gas and subsidize that gas until we can find our own and drill our own? Because we have gas and oil in the
offshore.
Offshore, we have it. And we're hearing rumors of the government trying to negotiate with the Nigerian gentleman who they're trying to sell it to. You remember some time ago?
They have not negotiated. He already got a contract. He's not the one who came to attend the First Lady's.
No, that's what I'm saying. There was that case when the First Lady had the launching of some program in her foundation, and this Nigerian gentleman who pledged $1 million. And we are saying, we hope we don't find them in the oil sector very soon.
Yeah.
Well, whether it's the same guy or somebody else, somebody's in the oil sector. And we're going to stop those things when the time comes.
Well, there is a Nigerian in the oil sector, but it's not the one who gave the 1 million. But of course, there are rumors that I do know there is a Nigerian. For a fact, there is a Nigerian.
So this government that is what's so annoying. They are selling off every asset of this country. The oil sector, the gas sector, hydrocarbons, these are a national asset. Why do you sit there in a small corner, hiding and selling it off to people when we should be drilling them for this country, for the resource of this country? Not only that, but they're selling us all our productive infrastructure. They've mortgaged the bridge, they've concessioned out the port, they're concessioning the airport very soon. They are selling off Gamcel. Now where is probably going to go? Nero is replacing Gambian National Airways and what have you, just like that. They didn't build any of these structures, but they are selling them off.
One of the arguments that the government, of course, we will have to go back, take the blame back to the government. But one of the arguments of the government, and I don't want to also take us away from the conversation about the rural economy. That's why rural economy.
Yeah.
But in any case, if we are to build an economy, we're going to have to need resources to build an economy.
But those resources, you don't get them by selling off the assets you have.
Exactly. So this conversation is still valid in respect of that. And also, one of the things you will also need to do is to also ensure there is accountability so that you are able to raise money because
So what I'm saying, to bring it back to the rural economy.
Yeah.
If you can provide that gas from the offshore oil wells, you bring down the cost of gas very low. So you don't have to cut down the forest to make firewood and charcoal. Right?
And charcoal is actually worse for the forest than even
firewood,
timber production, because
but it's not just timber production for sale, but also just for firewood.
Yes.
At some time when the forests are green, there's enough greenery, the forest harvesting firewood would not destroy your forest because it regenerates itself. But when you go into logging, when you go into charcoal production, then you're really having a huge negative impact on the forest cover. So any serious government would do reforestation, bring back the rapidly growing tree species, plant species, plant those, and recover the forest, the forest cover very quickly. And try to do something to look, it doesn't take so much time when you bring in the right species of plants to reforest an area. But for that, you also need the water supply I've been talking about. And those are the water highways you can have. And you can produce, reforest all of that area. So we're not having that. But if you bring that, you give the local farmers a possibility to do that, to get something from the forest, because unless they can sustain the forest, they're going to cut them down. So you help them to do that. You help them to get a livelihood from that forest. You help them, provide them with water and implements, and as I said, fence gardens with proper inputs, so they can produce those crops year-round. So they can sustain themselves with that. They don't need to go cut the wood and do logging to survive. So they can have a living from that. We can bring back those natural, wild fruits as well. Plant them in,
That's my favorite, because I love wild fruits.
Exactly, we all do in the Gambia.
Yeah.
You see, I used to see one lady on Battle Harding.
It's Kabaga.
Kabaga, exactly. I love that girl.
Yes.
Ingenious. She was there.
I don't know why
she had gone, but I see her come back now.
Yeah.
I see the stall has come back.
Yes.
That lady is ingenious.
Yeah.
We can have people like that. We love our local foods.
We should have kaba everywhere.
We love
it's
that.
easy to even plant. You should even have it even in the monkey park.
Yeah.
Even monkeys love. Everyone loves kaba.
In my farm, I have that there, and when they say, "Can you?" I say, "No, don't touch that." They don't. It's there.
Yeah.
I have the kaba growing there in my farm.
Yeah.
So I'm saying these are things which are not so difficult to bring back.
Yeah.
So we can help them do that. So move from NBR, go to CRR, you can have the rice production. If you have the rice production, we are spending every year in excess of $200 million on rice and oil. Just by doing import substitution, which I keep talking about all the time. For me, it's just simple common sense.
Yeah.
You do import substitution, you produce the rice locally and the groundnuts to get the oil. You don't need that money to go out anymore. You can reinvest it in the country here.
Yeah.
Instead, you'll be earning money from outside by exporting, because if we do that, we provide them with the implements, we provide them with the water that they need to farm year-round. We provide them with all the inputs, good fertilizers, good improved seeds, etc. They will produce rice year-round. They will feed the country, and we will export the rest.
In fact, in some areas we already have water, because, for example, in the CRRs.
Yeah, but if you go to Jammeh-leaning, for example, we have facilities.
Yeah, the
facilities. But it's so poorly managed, so poorly designed that the rice fields are flooded all the time.
Yeah.
They can't even farm normally, and it just requires basic development of the infrastructure there, the dikes and the bunds, etc. And you can farm all year round. So, at certain areas we're using gravitational irrigation, but it's not happening, because nobody cares about it. When the money comes into Jammeh-leaning, it's used to buy vehicles and pay administrative costs, etc.
That's because the agriculture. The last time I was having a conversation with Dr. Gajigo, and this came up a lot. A lot of the funding that's also going into agriculture is not domestically mobilized. It's foreign aid.
Outside,
Yes, it's foreign aid that comes with all its different agendas and all different levels of accountability.
No, you see, there's a lot of talk about that. But for example, if you take the African Development Bank, the funding that goes into those sectors, there are no strings tied. It's the government to decide how to use it and how to make it sustainable.
No, it's not necessarily strings attached, but what I'm saying, for example, if they design a government project, they will take a lot into administrative cost, into buying vehicles, into paying consultants. Even staff of ministry are also paid as part of the project.
Yes.
Even though they are earning their own salaries as well.
Right.
And all those things. So you have, in the end, the question then goes back to what is the priority here?
Yes.
Is it to develop something, or is it just to...
Right, and that is essential for a lot of it is also the government, because when we prepare those projects, the implementation is local. So you have project implementation units, the PIUs, and they're essentially local staff. So you bring in some foreign staff, international staff who are going to help with certain aspects. And that is why we pay a bit more, we call them top-up salaries. We top up the salaries of the local staff. Because we bring an international consultant who is working on those projects, who is earning 10, 15, 20 times more than the local staff. And the local staff is doing most of that work. It's unfair to them. So you top up their salaries as well to give them some more incentive into working and achieving results. That's what it's supposed to be. But for me, once the government is doing what it takes to develop this country, then it turns the paradigm on its head. Instead of getting those international consultants, you get the local people to do that job. Rwanda, you can say all you like about Paul Kagame, but these are the things he was doing. Rwanda was bringing in Rwandans to do the international consultancy. So we have Gambians who are experts in agriculture, etc. Why don't you bring those people to be the consultants to work in these areas? Go to international institutions, go to the ADB, say, hey, we want to, we want you to second to us one or two of your Gambians here who are experts in agriculture to come and work with us.
But is it the issue of Gambians working in those sectors, or is just a lack of accountability?
No, that's part of the process. The whole process starts at the top. If the government puts in what it takes to make it succeed, put in the processes, the procedures, the accountability, and the proper use of resources, you make sure that the money doesn't all go into buying cars and paying per diems and these people living in Combo here and going to work in Jahali Pachar, like they are going on trek once in a week or so. Make them stay there. Make them stay there and work with them. We have people working in Sapo, YBK, and all of Bukamaba. Make them settle them in the areas where they need to work. Not come work here and go there on trek once in a while. Make them stay there and make them achieve results. Sign performance contracts with them so they know what they have to produce. And you give them the training that most of these projects come also with training components. So you give them the training they need to be able to run that project so that when the ADB pulls out because the project has come to an end, we have developed enough capacity locally, we have developed enough resources to sustain the project, and then the government runs with it. But if the government doesn't do that, but you just see it as a way of earning a bit more money for the staff and for cronies, etc., it will fail. Once the project ends, it fails. There is no commitment. But if you bring in people, you make them realize that, hey, we are working for this country here and you're going to have to achieve results. And these are the results you need to achieve. And you set targets for them. You have service level agreements. You have performance levels. You define that with them. And you assess that continuously. You don't wait till halfway through the project or at the end of the project to assess that. You assess that on a quarterly or a biannual basis to make sure that people are achieving results. Just in the same way as the government. When you have a government, the minister should sign a performance contract with the president. This is what you're going to achieve. And you assess them as they go along. If they don't perform, they get help when they need help. If they need help, financial or material, give them help. If after all of them don't help, you remove them, put somebody else. So the projects will succeed if we do that.
Yeah, I think we would have to draw the conversation to a close so that because we still have one more small subject to address, which is the issue of coalition. I want to draw this particular segment of the conversation to a close with the issue of sort of the most issues that were raised during the tour. Because I imagine, of course, having a UDP in the regions, the public gonna need to tell you what they wish changed in the country, and that is those who are not pleased with the leadership of the current administration. And and probably they are going to have to talk about certain number of issues. Would you tell us how cost of living and other issues that may have been mentioned are on their order of priority?
Yeah, I think in the order of priority, what we have, yes, the cost of living is very high on that list. The health issues were very high on that list.
Like what specifically health issues?
Health issues, they're telling you we do not have even small health facilities within reach.
Okay.
So you can take women there who need to deliver or have an accident or somebody has an asthma attack or malaria in the middle of the night. Where do you take them? One. Two, the ones who have it, they tell you there are no medicines in there. There isn't an ambulance. So if you need to evacuate anybody, you have to go look for a taxi or a private car or a horse cart or a motorcycle. They tell you about that. So we need facilities, but we need facilities that work. We need facilities that can give you the treatment you need. If they cannot get it, we need ambulances to evacuate these other sanitary facilities. They tell you that, and that they don't have that, and that the government doesn't seem to care about that. They tell you the schools are in very poor condition. They have teachers, but not the kind of teachers they want. They don't have the books and the things that they need for the students, for the kids, and the kids are not doing what they're supposed to do. They tell you the kids, they just go through the system, but when they finish, they don't get jobs. I tell them, yeah, most of them don't get jobs because the curriculum is not developed and suited to the needs of the country, one. Two, we have a sacrifice generation because even the teachers are not trained to the level that they should be trained to. So, of course, you cannot ask them to give to the kids what they don't have. So you need to train your teachers even more to make them even more professional, even more qualified and competent, so they can pass that knowledge on to the kids. Okay? So it's not the fault of the teachers. I'm not blaming the teachers. You can only give what you have. If you don't train them the way they're supposed to be trained, they can give the kids only what they have. So give them the proper training they need to. Every teacher wants to be the most competent. Every teacher wants to be able to see his kids, succeed. And when I meet some of my teachers today, and they say, oh yeah, they're happy to, say, yeah, I was his teacher, etc. And I'm proud to say he's my teacher. So teaching is a calling. So they want to have that. So help them to do that. They tell you about those things. They tell you about the fact that the kids have to migrate out of their areas because there are no possibilities of employment of any sort. Okay? And there are no possibilities for them to start their own businesses or whatever trade they want to get into because there is no money to go around. Some of them tell you, I don't even have a bank in the radius of 50 kilometers. In CRR, for example, they told us, if you leave Farafenye, the next bank is somewhere around Bassi.
As a commercial bank?
As a commercial bank. I said, wait a minute, yeah.
If you leave Farafenye?
Yeah. I said, well, they are right. There's no bank in Kaur, in Panchang, in Jawa, and the rest you have. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Is there any security concern on the agenda?
There might be security concerns naturally, but that is easy to handle because there are police stations all around that area. In the Greater Banjul area here now, they have, since that attack on a bank on Batil Hari, now they have security officers stationed in front of the banks. They can have the same thing in the provinces. They can do that, but it's also because these people are so destitute, so poor. They live from hand to mouth. They don't have money to save. So the banks are saying, well, if I open a bank, so there is going to be a liability.
There is no banking.
There's no bankable
population.
Yeah. So they don't want to do it. Okay? But you can have much more intelligent ways of doing these things. Put emphasis on certain things. Bring in banks that are not going to be looking for savings from those people, but banks that are going to come with government money to be able to invest in the area. If you bring in a youth bank, if you bring in an agricultural bank, a women's bank, they will come with money to invest in the communities, right? They will be lending those youth money to start their own businesses. And those youths are going to grow those businesses and are going to accrue wealth from that. And that will going to feed into the bank now. So instead of the banks coming because there's money to be made here, and no, they come and they start the money making. They invest in the economy. They invest in the local populations, help them grow a business, help them grow a trade. And once that happens, they will bring in money. So if you help the local women You come with money, you lend them money to start their agricultural business, their farming, their horticulture. And you place them there on the value chain, you finance them. They will be accruing money. So the banks become sustainable, they become profitable. Okay? So it's not the traditional banking thing. There's money, so I come here and make money. No, you come and create money, creating avenues, and then you gain from it. So all of those things are there. So they tell you about all of those things. But again, they are losing their kids to migration because there are no opportunities there. And you can't hold them back because when they got up in the world, what they do? What do? They have nothing to do. And they don't want to go into agriculture with the hoe again and that sort of thing like we did. They saw us do it all our life and we are still poor. They don't want to go into that. They don't want to get to stay poor. They want to do something else. So if you want them to stay in the local communities, you have to provide them things that will make it, worthwhile for them to stay.
Agriculture to be profitable.
Yeah, profitable agriculture. Provide them implements. You don't need to give a tractor to every small village. But if you get a tractor and you bring a couple of villages together and from a hand for cooperative, the tractor will be going around doing the work for them. You get a combined harvester for the areas where they produce rice. They can service 5-10 villages and do the harvesting when the time comes. The milling, the storage, the transportation. All of that, you do that, you create jobs, you create value chains, which will keep the people there. And the youth will stay there in their own communities. And they will prosper. And, I used to like something about Houphouët-Boigny in Côte d'Ivoire. When he appoints a minister, he tells you, you have 1 year to develop, this is in the early years of independence. You have 1 year to develop a farm and to build a house, good house in your area. Because when I come to your area, I'm not going to a hotel or guest house, I'm going to stay in your house.
So so
you better go and develop a house. So that man goes to his area every now and then, and he invests in his area. He doesn't keep all the money in Abidjan and build big houses. Yes, he does, but part of it goes to his village. And he tells them, all of you have to develop a farm. Because agriculture is the mainstay of Côte d'Ivoire. If the ministers have money to make or lose in agriculture, they will support agriculture, they will invest. So that's how agriculture became so performing in Côte d'Ivoire. Agricultural sector in Côte d'Ivoire is booming in all sectors. Cereals, vegetables, fruits, what have you, it's everywhere, it's there. Rubber, oil, palm oil, anything. He sent people to Vietnam to bring rubber species and palm trees, for palm oil production. So now the government produces those seedlings and gives it to the farmers for free and gives them technical assistance until they can stand on their own feet. Why can't we do something like that here?
All right, so now we would move away from the tour to a final part of this conversation, where I think that, if you have to, this is the gateway, because if you have to implement anything, you have to access Marina Parade. And 2026 is coming. Is UDP looking into the potentials of forming a coalition with any like-minded partners? But also, if it does, what is the roadmap? Has it designed its own roadmap? And let's get to the content of that, if there is any.
Yes, we are talking to parties.
Okay.
And it's a bit premature to give the names, etc., but we'll let it, it's going to come out very soon. We are talking with other parties, and then we're looking at how to form coalitions.
Okay.
So we're working on that.
But this is going to be party-led. That's what.
Yes.
So it's going to be them joining the UDP.
Not joining the UDP as such, but they know that UDP is the biggest opposition party in the country.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that to allow UDP lead the coalition and we work together to form a coalition that's going to be even stronger to get this government out with a higher percentage of the vote. Today we know that we can win the next elections and we will win it.
Today?
Yes.
You mean UDP?
UDP, yes. So, but we want to have a coalition with like-minded people in the opposition to make the win even bigger. Because when we win, we won't run the country alone as a UDP government. We'll have to bring in competence and skills from all across the country and not even from the diaspora. We need every Gambian who has the skills to come in and work. We will be focused on results. And results mean getting the most competent people to do the jobs. And we wouldn't have all of those competence in the UDP, no way. And even if we had, the Gambia is not just UDP. There are other people in this country who are not into any political party, but we have to bring them in. They have to be part of this development. So that's why we want to bring in even more people to work with in a coalition. One, we have a bigger victory. Two, we're going to work with those people anyway when we get to power. So we might as well start now, you know. So
but these people, are they political parties or independents?
Political parties. Political parties so far, yeah.
But,
yes, but there are some independent, people who don't have a party as such, but who are leaning towards UDP, who tell you, look, we'll endorse you, we'll work with you, we'll support you, we'll campaign for you. We're having those people too. Some of them are even joining the UDP, like Mamadi Kurang recently. He left Doi, he joined us. Keba Sise, who also left Doi and joined us.
Keba Sise was at CA, Citizen Alliance.
CA, sorry, not Doi, CA, yes. Sorry, my mistake, yes, he left CA to join us. So we have people like that who are coming to join us, the UDP, but others who are not affiliated to any political party, but who have a lot of influence and who tell you, we will endorse you, we'll campaign for you. And the same thing in colleagues in the diaspora. And when they tell us, say, look, yeah, you don't need to join the UDP, but you have an influence back home, right? Talk to your community. Tell them what is going wrong in the country and why it's going wrong. And you sensitize them, because most of the time, these are the people who are paying for the school fees, the feeding, the medical bills of the people here. So if you talk to them as well, tell them, look, I'm doing this and I want to be able to stop at one point so that you can also stand on your own feet to be able to take care of yourselves. And the way to do that is to support a UDP coalition or whatever to rescue this country. Because the diaspora today is probably the single biggest contributor to this government's development. The last year, figures were $776 million. This year probably we should hit $1 billion. And these are the formal
many have argued that remittances is what so far, this economy has collapsed. Remittances is what kept it afloat.
Yeah. And these are the
productively.
These are what's in the official sector. And that excludes what people bring in unofficially. You going, Mustafa, can you take $200 to my aunt? Or can you give $100 to my aunt and I will give you... So
even for family feeding, for construction, which is a huge booming business right now, everything.
So with a proper government, for example, in that sector, we can have diaspora working together with this government. Today, all that money comes in and it goes into more or less consumption. You pay for a school fees, you go pay for a medical bill, you pay for food here. But what if we can channel that through a bank, a diaspora bank, where they can invest, where we can have projects for the diaspora, for example, in terms of housing. You develop a housing project, right? Social security and housing. They can make a lot of money in this country. Now, if you encourage social security and housing to go into diaspora housing projects, they will be selling high-end houses because diaspora can afford high-end houses. The profit you make from that, you plow into low-income housing. So the profit from those high-end market houses will be used to subsidize low-income housing.
But before we get distracted into those issues, since it's about a coalition, so it's about the UDP-led coalition. That's the roadmap. And there are talks that there were also other 3 potential talks that UDP was invited to, but you did not attend. Was that correct?
3?
2 or 3. I mean, there is, I don't know, PPA or something.
I heard about this system change coalition or something.
Yes, but I think there are 2 or 3. But you guys...
Well, we are involved in another one, which has been going on for months now. and that is nothing new. That's probably one of the first ones we are talking, So yes, we are in that one, and we are talking also to outside that structure, because that is a much more structured one and multi-party. Okay, but in addition to that, we are talking to single parties along the sides as well to come to an agreement, and once we do, we will all come together, because we want to clear the ground. Because for the coalition...
So you guys are not interested in any independent thing, like independence-led coalition, or the idea that UDP can come and support somebody else?
No.
You are not open to that possibility?
We're not going to support... We are the biggest party. That's natural, I think, you cannot ask us to throw all our weight behind an independent who has maybe 1,000, 2,000 people behind them. Does it make sense?
There's no independent 2,000.
Yeah, but
maybe 20,000.
Yeah.
Or 19,000 maybe.
Yeah. Sometimes you have 1,000. So it doesn't make sense. But nonetheless, there are Gambians who come with ideas and who can bring something to the table. So we want to be able to work with those people, but you can't ask us to throw our weight behind them. It's the other way around.
But there are people who are concerned that to say that, okay, UDP leadership will not have the likeliest number to be able to elect them into government. And so therefore, if you have a large size, if that large size is not able to get us to the goal, that large size is just as insignificant as the small size. So therefore, we are at the same level.
No, we cannot be at the same level.
Okay, if you have, if for example, you and I need $20 to buy water, okay? You have 15, I have 5. My 5 in value is as important as your 15. Even though you can go and get your 5 from another person. But in any case, until we get 20, we can't get water.
We can't get water,
yes. So in terms of value, my 5 is as valuable as your 15.
We are not in any way saying they are not valuable. We are not. Also, I'm saying, even if you bring 200, 2,000 to the table, it's valuable.
Yes, it's valuable, yes.
What we're saying is, we look at the party that has the most support, and that is the party that's expected to lead. You cannot expect UDP, which by the last election, even after the cheating and all, they gave us to over 200,000 votes, right? You cannot ask us to throw our weight behind a smaller party which has 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. We should work together, but we should be fairly and naturally expected to lead. Which doesn't mean that they dance to our tune. That's why we sit with them and we discuss. Because when we do the discussions, what do we say? Say, okay, let's look at what we're going to sell to the Gambian people. What are our policy concerns? What are our priority areas? What is the thrust of our development agenda for this country? Let's look at that. If you agree on that, then we can work together, certainly, and have something to sell to the Gambian people. Once we agree on that, then we look at how do we...
So you mean policy alignment?
Yes, policy alignment is important, because if we don't, if you come to an agreement to work together as a set of parties, but we don't agree on policy and programs and agenda, so what do we say to the Gambian people? Because then when you go there, because we want to move from this idea where we're going to elect people, because yes, we have Darboe is good, so we have to have elected. No, we want to have Darboe leading a UDP with a program and an agenda. Ousainou is loved in this country. But he's loved because of his principles. He's loved because of his stance on development. He's loved because of what he is proposing to the Gambian people. And that's what we want to sustain. So we want to go to the people and say, yes, you love Ousainou, and this is why you love him, and this is what we're proposing to you, what we want to sell to you. And any other party that's going to work with us has to have similar sort of things, and we can go together and sell that product. Like I said, our agenda is primarily people-based, human development. And then all the other sectors come in support of that. Agriculture is in support of that. Health is in support of that. Infrastructure development, energy. So if we do that and somebody says, oh, no, I just want to go, let's build roads. No, sorry. We can't do it that way. We need roads, yes. But roads are facilitator.
But you can still also have somebody who is not from UDP and so the first point is we have to have a policy alignment. But the much bigger consideration is that we will have to produce the leader. So in other words, Ousseynou is the leader of the coalition.
Yes.
As for the UDP.
Yes, he's the leader, he's a flag bearer.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's your flag bearer, and is the leader of a coalition that the UDP is going to be part of. There is no chance of any order.
No, it's like the flag bearer. That's done. That's done and dusted.
Now, I mean, I know Ousseynou is the flag bearer.
Yeah.
But I mean, so therefore, by that roadmap, you guys are non-negotiable on the principle that Ousseynou has to lead.
Oh yeah, that's not negotiable. I mean, let's be clear. Let's be clear. You can't ask us to go to another flag bearer selection because you don't like Ousseynou. Ousseynou is our candidate. Ousseynou is our flag bearer. Ousseynou is our party leader. So if you're going to work with us, you have to first accept that Ousseynou is going to be our flag bearer for the next election.
A replica of 2016 is not negotiable for you guys. Like, let's say, for example, we all resign and contest for
No.
independent stuff.
No.
That's not negotiable.
No, that's not negotiable. I mean, let's be realistic. We want to do this, but let's look at it. You know, NPP, for the next elections, they're not going to say, okay, Barrow will step down because you guys don't like him because he's not performing. So we're going to bring somebody, maybe we'll take, Henry Gomez.
Incumbent.
Henry Gomez to lead. It won't happen.
Yes, but the NPP is incumbent.
In
any case, Henry Gomez's chances are way less because compared to Barrow.
Exactly, it's the same thing here. UDP has the biggest party with the biggest support base. So naturally, if you want us to do this together, we have to accept that UDP will lead. And we have already elected our flag bearer. So naturally, it will be Ousseynou. So you cannot expect that we're going to have a coalition of any type with you, and then we're going to go look for another flag bearer. We have already selected them. That's in the past.
Okay, are you guys open? Because, for example, right now, based on historical data, it's clear. We know if there is any party that could beat Barrow, based on historical confirmed data, it's NPP. UDP is the second largest, right? Let's say, well, I know you don't agree.
I don't agree. But
okay, but in any case, based on,
sake,
okay, let's say for argument's sake, in the opposition camp, historical data, UDP clearly is in the lead, right? There is no doubt about that. But are you guys also open to sort of reassessment of support basis? Because we also have a number of new entrants into the ring. Okay, you have UMC, you have PPA. Of course, they are not fully fledged registered right now, but they are in the process. Are you guys, you have Mama Kande and others, are you guys open to reassessment, so through sort of some form of collection of data, which could be privately done by your group, and sort of reassess who has a better standing of winning before the elections?
Well, actually, for your information...
Or you are going to go for...
For your information, we are going to embark on a data collection exercise.
Yeah.
And it's launching. It's going to
Are you going to consider other factors other than Ousseynou in that data collection exercise?
As a leader?
Yes. Like, no, for example, we are talking about the potentials of selecting a leader. And we know what the established fact is that UDP has the largest opposition support base. That's an established fact based on historical data. Okay? So I am now saying based on assessment going forward, not on historical data. Because the counter argument is that, well, we don't know the current standing. If elections are done right now, we don't know, right? And it's difficult to argue against that without data.
We, as I said, we're going to do data collection and starting that process to be able to decide a number of things at our party level. But today, in the Gambia, if we are honest with ourselves, which opposition party can claim to have more votes than the UDP? It's not there. We have to be realistic. But we respect all of these parties. That's why we're talking to them, right? And once we get to an agreement with them, we're going to treat them like partners in that agreement with us, which is why we don't go to those discussions with any preconceived ideas. We go with a blank page to sit with them and negotiate. And when we negotiate, we put ideas on the table, which we discuss. And once we agree on those, it belongs to us as a group, not UDP with its agenda selling it to the others. We will be working with them as a group. That's why I say we need like-minded people who have policy affinity, who can discuss a number of things and agree on things to sell to the government, to the Gambian people, to form a government subsequently. And once a government is formed, all of those people are going to be part of that government. But we also have to do things in keeping with the constitution of the country. The constitution of the Gambia, we have the presidential system. The president is the one who appoints his cabinet, right? But of course, when you're in a coalition with people, naturally, you know that you'll have to have some form of power sharing.
Yeah.
So we'll have that. But the objective is not primarily, well, I want a job here, I want a job there. The objective is, how do we uproot this government and bring in policies which are going to be beneficial to the Gambia and the Gambian people? How do we get the right people into these jobs? A small party with very few people can have very competent people within those few people. And they might have more people in positions of responsibility than another party which is bigger. Because what we are looking for is competence to be able to run this country, and they get the best for this country. We do not want to have round pegs in square holes or whatever it's called. We want to have the right people for the right positions. And even if UDP were to go it alone, I said we would go look for people outside UDP who have the competence to come work with us. Because we need the best for this country. Naturally, people who have been in the UDP and fighting and giving everything, all things being equal, probably will give them a better consideration. But you cannot just going to take only UDP. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I know. But there are people who you know, and I know, and we are all very active followers of Gambian politics, that people who have already taken position both on UDP leader and have made publicly known positions that Hussein is not electable.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So how do you work with a group like that? It's not possible.
Well, but it's an argument. I mean, consider it not just a position, but it's also an argument. And where you will have to, if you have to approach such a person, you have to convince them that indeed, well, Hussein is electable. In that kind of a situation, you will have to present some kind of convincing argument or data to show that this is possible. We can go with Hussein and we can still beat Barrow.
And we are not ruling out these other people who have been skeptical about Hussein, right? When you think Hussein is not electable because you are away from the UDP, you don't know us, you don't know our policies, etc., you don't know Hussein, we didn't take time to even learn about him. We'll sit with you, we'll talk with you. What are we looking for? Because you have to tell us the criteria of electability for you. Because as far as we are concerned, electability concerns what? Concerns integrity of that person seeking to lead the country. It concerns the competence, professional competence of that person. It concerns the patriotism and the vision of that person for this country, right? It depends on his compassion for the Gambian people and his willingness to go work with them and stay the course. But
you leave in the most important part, which is popularity to the general base of the electorate.
These are the things that build popularity. Popularity doesn't just come out of the blue. It's because you sell them those things. They see your principles. They see that you are compassionate. They see that you have principles, you have vision for this country, and you are willing to fight for this country. Hussein went to jail for this country, would have been killed for this country. He lost almost everything to the fight for this country, and he stayed consistent. These are the things that breed his popularity. These are the reason why in the top people are telling us, yeah, we've seen you all these years, we've stayed consistent. We've been in the government for all these years, we had these commissions and everything, but nobody has blamed you for anything. And we keep saying that. Nobody has been able to lay anything at Hussein's foot. Nobody has said he has walked away with a butut in the government. He spent 2.5 years in government. If he had walked away with a butut, it would have been all over the place. Nobody said it. He was a lawyer for years. Nobody said he embezzled things from me or he shortchanged me. Nobody said it. He's been in public life 50 years, half a century. Nothing to blame. So these are the things that breed his popularity. So that's what I'm saying. When you have that kind of popularity, and you have that vision, and you have the competence, and you have the skills to build a team and keep the team together. Look around Hussein today. The people who are, we don't have to be with Hussein. We could have gone to Barrow if we wanted to just make money or to be rich and famous or whatever. No. The Larry Cisses, the Ismaila Cisses, the, Sekou Kamara and what have you. There are loads and loads of people. I'm sorry to even name names, because if you name, you just say a few. There are so many other competent ones in there. You can name all of them. All of those people don't have to come with Hussein if they want some cheap popularity or quick gains, etc. But they have principle. They're fighting for this country. A lot of us are retired national civil servants. You can just sit back and enjoy your retirement, enjoy your money, and lead a good life. We don't have to go through this. It's a lot of work. I work more today than when I was at the ADB. I used to have my weekends in my holidays. I haven't gone on holidays for 2.5 years. So you do this because you believe in this country, and you believe that this country has given you what you are today, and you want to give back. So that's why we are there. That's why Hussein is there. Hussein could have gone and done something else with his life. He could stay a lawyer and made loads of money.
But I mean, if you are, I mean, we will have to draw this to a conclusion now. But if you are looking for, I mean, partners, you've got to know what's also in their hands. Like the people you are approaching, what's in their hands? Are they susceptible to the party-led idea? And
yes,
so far, is it working?
Yes, for the most part, it's working because, the Gambia has very, good people. They don't even always get the limelight. They don't get the exposure that some of us do get. But when you sit and talk to them, these are people who have been consistent. They have principles, and they are people who could have gone to Barrow, but they've stayed away from Barrow.
And they are part of political parties.
Yes.
They are leaders of
political parties, and they could have gone to Barrow, but they didn't go.
Okay.
And they stayed.
And they are listening, and they are agreeing to some of the proposals. Yes, we're talking to
some of them, and I think we're making headway.
But isn't there a likelihood that, I mean, for a lot of the so-called talks that are currently ongoing, you are not going to be part of those, because it seems to be the case that those ones are open to, those ones are saying that the issue of the selection of the leader has to be the last thing to deal with, and they are not necessarily going ahead with the idea that we are the biggest and we have to select the leader.
Well, naturally it will be difficult to discuss with those people, right? Because you can come and tell me that Hussein Darboe will be put at the same level as somebody who has 200, 500 supporters. It's not possible. I mean, we have to be realistic as well. Don't ask UDP to do the impossible, right? When you form any association anywhere, you usually have the people who bring the most to the table who are taking some of the position. You form a company, the person who brings the major shares leads the company, right? When we had a confederation with Senegambia, we had Senegambia. Senegal is the biggest country, but we brought more to the table. They became the president, and Jawara became the vice president, etc. United Nations is the same
thing. So in other words, the value you bring to the table determines what sort of, how much swing you have at the table.
Yes, it does. But we do hope that also, because we want to do that also, but based on principle. Because we won't talk to anybody just because you have a party, and no, we want to see what kind of principles you bring in. What are you bringing to the table? Are you more interested in working to salvage this country and develop it? Or are you coming here because you want a position, you want a job, you want money? That is not the agenda for us.
But you cannot also go into, it will be presumptuous to assume that others are into it for money. Even though some of these things we may have evidence of.
What I'm saying is, the people we are talking to are not people who come and tell us, okay, we're going to negotiate, but you have to tell me what position I'm going to get when we get to government. Fortunately, once we are talking to, nobody has come with that sort of agenda. But if you come to us and say, okay, before we discuss, tell me what am I going to get when you get to government. will say, you're not interested in the government, in the Gambia becoming, what we want to see. What we want is the Gambia we want. How do we get there? What do we do? But if your primary concern when you come to a discussion, you come and tell us, okay, if we're going to go into a discussion, but tell me first, what am I going to get? You think you're the right person to talk to. But unfortunately, we have not had that so far.
Two more issues.
Yeah.
Is Jammeh acceptable to you people, to UDP? I mean, as an alliance partner?
Jammeh is not the head of any party here.
Yeah, but he's
the No to Alliance. No to Alliance is there, okay? But the No to Alliance is working more or less as an independent institution because the APRC is the one with Fabakary Tombonjata.
Yes.
But they are a force to be reckoned with in this country, No to Alliance.
Yes.
Right?
They have more support than the former APRC.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. At least based on election results.
And our objective is to work with every segment of the Gambian population who is willing to work for the development of this country.
Including No to Alliance.
Remember that UDP's issue was not with APRC.
Yeah.
UDP's issue was what Jammeh was doing.
Yes, but I know, but now you are rationalizing because what Jammeh is doing is the same thing that No to Alliance stands for and supports up to date.
I don't think so.
They do. They support Jammeh up to date. The No to Alliance is Jammeh's faction.
They support Jammeh, but doesn't mean that they support what Jammeh was doing. Let me give an example.
Yeah.
Brikama Area Council.
Yes.
Is our leading local government institution for UDP.
Yes.
APRC supporters.
What do you mean leading?
It is our can I say,
the best performing?
Not only the best performing, but our example of what UDP will be doing when we get to this country.
Okay.
To the helm of this country.
Yeah.
Right?
Because Yankuba is the poster boy for now.
Yes, he is.
I mean, it wasn't like
because
that before.
He is doing what UDP has been advocating all these years. What we're saying is we want a party that's going to unite.
But it was not just Yankuba.
If you go to the campaigns we had before the elections of mayors and chairpersons, the last meeting for West Coast region, because I'm in West Coast region, I was in the last meeting for West Coast region, it was in Busumbala. Check it out on the internet, you'll find it.
That's the campaign for Yankuba?
Yes, for the council, for the chairpersons and the mayors, because we were at the same time. I was at the last meeting for Yankuba. In Busumbala it was. And I said, you guys were asking you, please vote for Yankuba. He could have stayed in the UK and run his lawyer business and make a lot of money. He's coming here because he believes in this country, he believes in what UDP stands for, and he is our candidate. And if we elect Yankuba, not only you will elect somebody who can win this, and we think he will win, but who can run this place the way we want it to be run for UDP. And when he does, very soon we'll talk about no region more than West Coast region. Because it has the biggest region, has the biggest potential, and has the person who can deliver the goods. And Yankuba has been delivering the goods. And in the line of thought and policies of UDP, we want a leader who will unite the country. Yankuba has come, there is in his council, is working with everybody, UDP, NPP, No to Alliance, anybody who's there, is working with all of them. The development finance is given to those wards. He doesn't give it to UDP wards, he gives it right across all the 28 wards. Each one has their share.
But if he hadn't done that, it would have been discriminatory.
And that's what I'm saying.
It's his job to do that.
And that's what the UDP stands for. We have seen people here say, did Barrow go to Brikama and say, I will build a market for you if you move?
But that's wrong.
It's wrong, exactly.
Yes.
Jammeh was going past certain areas of the country, I'm not going to develop because you don't vote for me.
Yes.
What we're saying
is also wrong.
Exactly. What we want in UDP, our policies, is exactly what Yankuba is doing. And if you get a UDP government, you will have Yankuba's policies on steroids. What Yankuba is doing, uniting the country, bringing the people together, irrespective of your parties, irrespective of your affiliations. You represent a region that pays taxes like everybody in the country.
Yeah, but that's different when you have Jammeh at the table, or Jammeh's proxy at the table, because you're going to have to make a deal that also serves Jammeh's interests in a way. So, for example, Barrow started talks with Jammeh.
Barrow started talks with Jammeh.
Yes, until Jammeh got dissatisfied and kicked him aside.
Yes.
Okay, and then he ended up with a fragment of the APRC.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are going to go into talks with No to Alliance, it's without question that Jammeh is going to be at the table.
But I'm saying we're not in talks with No to Alliance as such. What we are doing is we are working with people who are members of No to Alliance. Okay?
For where your interests is aligned.
Our interests is aligned, and interests are aligned in most of the time because they are also wanting to have the development of their regions and their wards, etc. We have a community of interest there.
So this is more like the value that Yankuba is bringing to the table.
Exactly, but also
so they're coming through the
also those
West Coast.
Those APRC councillors in their councils, what they are bringing to the table.
Okay.
You see, the councillor for Bantanjang Ward is an APRC No to Alliance candidate.
Yeah.
When he passed away, UDP did not feel a candidate there because we thought this gentleman was doing a good job for his ward and for the region and bringing the region together and working for the development of the region. So we're going to support APRC, bring another candidate who will continue.
APRC No to Alliance?
No to Alliance, yes. Okay. I tend to say APRC because if Abakari Tombonjata won for me, they just usurped the APRC.
Yes, but nonetheless, they have the legal one.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say APRC No to Alliance. If I forget, remind me anytime. I don't talk of the other one.
Yes.
I don't talk of the Abakari Tombonjata one. Yeah. So we're working with these people. Yes, your ward councillor was a very loyal person working with the region to develop what we need for this region and working for the development of the people of that region and that ward. So we trust that whoever you bring again will have the same outlook and the same disposition to work for the region and to work for the ward and to work for the development of that region in a community of interest. Another community of interest is the West Coast region. So we did not feel a candidate there. We're supporting them. Just like we supported Mama Kande in one of the regional elections, ward elections, I think it's in Sierra. Okay, but in Kayaf, we are fielding a candidate.
Yes.
Against NPP.
Yes, because that's an area where you are brave the most.
Oh yeah, well,
one of the areas
we call it our fixed deposit, But yes, even if it had been elsewhere that NPP was fielding a candidate, we would have fielded a candidate with them. Because we believe that what they're doing to this country is wrong.
But are you talking to No to Alliance representatives or Jammeh representatives or any other? Because these talks are also ongoing.
As far as I know, we're not talking to them structurally, but I believe because our people are very active in West Coast region, and they're going to talk to everybody in West Coast region. Because remember, the people who are No to Alliance are Gambians like all of us.
No, but there is a difference between a political structure. When you said Fonyi,
yes,
you can go to Fonyi and canvass any kind of vote.
Right.
This is okay.
Yes. And we are having a number of people in Fonyi who are joining the UDP to start with, okay? Who are moving from all different parties to joining UDP, and we applaud that. But even those who are No to Alliance, APRC No to Alliance, if they want to work with us, we will be happy to work with them because we want to unite this country. We don't want to have people who are ostracized because they belong to a particular party. Remember when the coalition came, Hussein was one of the people who advocated for not banning APRC. Because yes, Jammeh did a lot of wrong things, but you cannot punish the whole of APRC because you don't agree with Jammeh. So Jammeh is in exile and he is, to a certain extent, you say to yourself, he might have learned something. UDP suffered a lot at the hands of Jammeh. But when the elections were done in 2016, and Hussein was released by the courts, not by Barrow, he says he released Hussein, he didn't release Hussein, the courts released Hussein.
But Barrow was also
no.
The people who are pushing for that.
Yeah, he supported me, yes, but he didn't. It's the court system that released Darboe, not him. When Darboe came out of jail, the first thing he said was, I have forgiven Jammeh. And he is the one who suffered most at the hands of Jammeh. If he can forgive Jammeh, well, that shows the magnanimity of the gentleman. That shows his desire to bring this country together. Because, we got to a point where you have to realize that whatever we do, we have to talk to everybody in this country.
He didn't suffer the most under Jammeh. I mean, there are people who are tortured.
I'm talking of the politicians who are leading political parties who are...
Even politicians, I mean, he was arrested with a lot of people.
No, who are the face of their parties.
Even those, there were others who were arrested many times.
Some were even killed. Yes. They suffered more than him.
Yes.
Yeah. But
even within UDP.
Absolutely.
You have disappeared.
The KMSN Janes, Jammes,
I mean, even Kanye's disappeared. Sane was beaten to death. Yes.
Who were in jail with him. Yeah. They suffered like him. Some suffered probably even more than him.
In fact, 2016, a lot of folks
those who were
beaten.
Maimed, those who were tortured to death, those who were... You can't even say it all.
Yeah.
Women went to hell. Yeah. Some men went to hell. Amadou Sane, we saw him how he was beaten mercilessly.
Yeah, I think around 2014.
Yeah, so those people suffered probably more than Hussein.
Yeah.
But Hussein is the face of the party. So when he came out, he said, I can't speak for the rest, but for me, I have forgiven Jammeh, in spite of all that he did to me and my party and my supporters. Because as a leader also, you have to have that amount of magnanimity in order to be able to move on.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela suffered immensely at the hands of apartheid. But he ended up negotiating with the apartheid system to come out.
Yeah.
And when he did, he could have turned vindictive, but he didn't. One thing I like about Mandela, when the elections took place, and he didn't get the supermajority that ANC was hoping for, they asked him in an interview, they said, Mr. Mandela, you must be disappointed you didn't get the supermajority. He said, actually, no. I'm happy we didn't get the supermajority. Because if we did, ANC would have been arrogant and we didn't have spoken to anybody. But now we have to learn to compromise, to talk to everybody and reach an agreement and a solution for the things, not just the way we like it, but the way other people see it as well. We have to negotiate with them and reach a compromise. And that's what UDP is all about. We want compromise, we want negotiation. Yes, we disagreed a lot with Jammeh. Yes, we suffered at the hands of Jammeh, our supporters and the like. But that does not mean that we cannot talk to Jammeh or his people. Jammeh as a person, we probably will not talk to him. He's not even here. But the people who supported Jammeh, they are Gambians and we'll talk to them if we need to. And we have absolutely no issues with that. APRC supporters, APRC Noto Alliance, to be specific, they are Gambians who we want to bring to the fold. We want to bring them back. Some of them want to bring them to UDP if we can. But if we cannot bring them to the UDP, we want to be able to work with them like Yankuba is working with them in West Coast region, to be able to work together and develop this country. We may not agree on everything. We may even agree to disagree. But we should be able to work together. That's what leadership is all about. So otherwise, you become a dictator.
Yeah. So finally, I mean, just finally, the issue of, I don't know how you are looking into, even as you are attempting to build a coalition, because different political parties and different political groups have different appeals and to different bases. And if you are building a coalition, you probably are going to have into your thinking who appeals to who is likely to take supporters from Barrow and who is likely to bring supporters to UDP, because these two may not be mutually exclusive. You may have somebody whose supporters who likely has a much better appeal with the NPP base, and it's better if that person doesn't join the UDP, because he's likely whoever takes from UDP is just as good as the one who joins UDP, because he's making Barrow more vulnerable. Are you guys crunching the data to sort of look at all these different variables in the coalition building process?
We know that those are facts, and if you take, for example, Mama Kande in 2016, if he had joined the coalition, Jammeh might have stayed in power. Because he took a lot of people from Jammeh. If he had joined the coalition, some of those people might have gone back to Jammeh or stayed with Jammeh. Okay? So in a way, even though he didn't join the coalition, I think he contributed a lot to winning the election. And since he left, APRC, he has been consistent. He has been principled. 2021, when we said elections were stolen, he said, yes, I agree with it, and he's been on that line since.
Mm-hmm.
This is a gentleman I have a lot of respect for.
Mm-hmm.
He is consistent and he doesn't dilly-dally. So I have a lot of respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to talk to somebody like that, I would talk to him, not because if he comes to us, he would probably lose people to Barrow or somebody else. No. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Hussein would do the same thing. We talk to anybody who we think can bring something to the table. Mm-hmm. But especially somebody who has the same vision for the country as us, or whose vision we can, tweak ours and reach an agreement and work for the country. Mm-hmm. And Mama Kande is one of those principled people. Mm-hmm. So if we need to talk to him, yes, we'll talk to him and we'll do what it takes. And anybody else who is willing to work with us to have this country salvaged and move into the right direction, we wouldn't say no. We wouldn't talk to them, because if they come to us, Barrow will probably get more candidates. No, we're not in that kind of horse trading. Mm-hmm. No. We are into the principle that let's get the best to come to work with us. Let's get the Gambians who have, who are like-minded, who want to change this country, who want to work for this country, not for their own individual selfish interests. Mm-hmm. People who are concerned about this country moving forward in the right direction. Anybody who has that thought, anybody who has those principles, we are willing to work with you. So we won't calculate based on the possibility that he will take away from Barrow or less from Barrow. No, that would be almost cynical. What we want is people who are geared towards removing this corrupt government from the helm of the Gambia. People who want to have policies that will move the Gambians away from abject poverty to a decent life. Policies which will protect our youth and not push them into the desert or the high seas. Policies that will provide education for our kids, that will provide jobs for our kids, that will give them hope, that will give the agriculturalists in the country and the farmers a reason to continue living in the rural areas and producing the food we need. Giving our hospitals the wherewithal to give the Gambians the medical services that they deserve, etc., etc. These are the kind of people we're looking for. These are people we want to work with, and who have that sincerity of purpose, who are determined to fight, and they know that because we can fight and win this, we can work together, and together we can deliver that success for this Gambia. Those are the people we're trying to work with. We're not into the small calculations of number of votes here and there. Those will come when the people see you as really fighting for this country, really fighting on the basis of principles, really fighting to unite this country, not spinning the tribal politics and all that. I was just watching my words, but saying and doing things which are going to divide this country. We're not into that. We're not into building a society where we look at each other as constantly as enemies. No, we are political adversaries and opponents, but we are not enemies. At least we don't want to have enmity with anybody. So these are the factors we're working for. This is why Usainu has been there all along. He would have been there a long time. He's gone and done something. This is why we're all here. And this is why the bulk of the Gambians want to see us move towards. So we will continue doing that, and we will continue talking to whoever we need to talk to, and we need to be able to sometimes agree to disagree and leave the past in the past and work towards the future. Because if you keep ruminating the past as well, you won't go forward. There are certain things though, you have to make sure that those things stop, because impunity cannot be condoned.
Yeah.
But you cannot continue living in the past as well. You have to be able to move forward. So yes, that's where we are as UDP.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Lamin Manneh, for stopping by, and we appreciate your coming.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss these issues again with the country and to make our positions known. Our only objective is this country and how we move it forward. and the potential is there. Honestly, I keep saying the Gambia is not poor. It has been impoverished, but we can turn it around and make everybody have a decent living. So thank you for the opportunity.
Inshallah. Yeah. So thank you so much, viewers, for being there with us all throughout the show. It's been a very long episode. Do subscribe to our channel, share it for more likings, and let's keep the conversation going. It's an election year. Have a good weekend.